I'd like to go back to a regulatory type of question that I think Mina can answer, maybe not, but Jeffrey, keep your ears open because this may be something that you can also address. As Marco said, Kauai Island has its own separate utility co-op right now, Kauai Island Utility Cooperative, and they provide electricity. The other 3 counties right now are under control of one entity, HEI, which is one company with 3 different entities inside it. Right now, there is talk not just of keeping a model that is pretty much the same, you know, an electric company that serves everybody. There's discussion about the energy co-op, but also, there's also now discussion of municipal utility districts. And a whole bunch of legislators last week got together, gave a press conference and said they want to look into municipal. Can the 2 of you, Mina and or Jeffrey, address for us what are the regulatory implications of an energy co-op, a municipal utility district? And I think we understand how these guys are regulated, but help us understand how the other ones would work.
Okay, for a municipal utility or municipal utility district, that is a government entity, and that would be done through a constitution or a charter amendment. And typically, municipal utilities are not regulated because they're there to serve the public. There's no shareholder, ratepayer conflicts there.
Meaning that they can just set their own rates and do whatever they want?
Typically through a board or legislatively through a council. So that would be the governing body, either an appointed or elected board or the county council, which is probably where the utility would be located. So that is a government entity. Then you have cooperative. Cooperatives are private, non-profit, member-owned. I think Marco mentioned earlier that the customers are members. In the KIUC bylaws, you don't have to be a member to be a customer. You have to pay a token membership. I believe the membership is a penny. So you
the membership is what?
A penny, 1 cent.
Okay, affordable.
Yeah. And co-ops have an elected board, and so every member, 1 meter, 1 vote. And where typically cooperatives are not regulated, but in the case of KIUC, it is regulated by the PUC, and that was part of the stipulation for the acquisition of KIUC. As you know, investor-owned utilities are regulated by the PUC, and the PUC will look at the risk allocation between the shareholder and the ratepayer, knowing that there is a shareholder-ratepayer conflict. I think does that cover it?
Jeffrey, do you want to add anything to that?
Yeah, I think Mina covered it. You know, municipal-owned would be, you know, kind of the way county water is run on Oahu Board of Water Supply. It would be similar to that. You know, is the way I envision that. A co-op would have to be the acquisition by a co-op would have to be approved by the Public Utilities Commission, the same way that the acquisition by KIUC of Kauai Electric was approved by the commission. You know, I've been asked at different times to you know, participate in you know, looking at these different models. I'm a little reluctant to do that because eventually, if something comes to fruition, it'll go before the Public Utilities Commission, and the Consumer Advocate's Office is going to have to take a position. And let me give you an example. When KIUC bought out Kauai Electric, our recommendation, the initial recommendation was don't approve, and the commission actually didn't approve the initial offer. Kauai Electric then reduced the price, and you know, so we then said, okay, and we're still concerned about it. This was before my time, but if you go back and review the docket, It wasn't an easy thing to do. And for Kauai Electric, they wanted to get out of the business. Citizens Electric, that owned the electric utility, wanted to get out of the electricity business and focus on telecommunications. So you had a willing seller. So they didn't have to go through some kind of a condemnation, eminent domain type of process, which is probably, how Helco would need to be acquired. A lot of issues start to arise when you have to go to court to determine what the fair market value of the utility is. What's going to happen to investments in the utility while the ownership is in question? And I mean, there's significant benefits in having a co-op. You take away the profit portion, of your bill. The utility has, access to very low interest rates. The rural utility service provides interest rates at 2 to 3%. I mean, even NextEra can't get that kind of rate. And there's a huge tax advantage. So, you have to look at the pros and cons of doing this, and then the difficulty and then managing that utility.
Mina, I think you wanted to add something?
I just picked it up that, well, especially for a municipal, you would have to go through a condemnation process, eminent domain. And with a co-op, unless you have a willing seller, I'm not sure what the process would be, but you would have to establish fair market value and proceed that way. And for a co-op, you would have to get PUC approval, and the buyer would have to be found to be fit, willing, and able. So it could be a very long process either way, looking at condemnation or an adversarial purchase with an unwilling seller.
Let me just be clear on one thing. What I've read so far is that Maui is looking at the possibility of a municipal utility district. The city and county of Honolulu now, or at least the state legislators over there, want that to be consideration. But there's been no consideration of that in Hawaii County. Am I right? Wrong? First of all, Will, correct, not correct? No consideration in Hawaii County of a municipal utility district?
We are aware of Maui's
Okay.
attempts or press on making a muni or a co-op. We are aware that county does have certain condemnation powers, and we are aware that our county council would have to work with the state legislature to do such a thing. But we have not acted in that. We have not acted on that path yet,
Okay.
or we have not even analyzed it.
So it's not really something to think about right for today with Hawaii County.
It is not something that we're considering this moment, and tomorrow may change, but at this moment, it's not a consideration. At this moment.
Well, gee, when you say it that way, I have to say my next question is Randy here? Does he know you're going to buy the utility company?
My former boss and good friend, if I do well, Randy Kurihara is in the audience, and probably if I get an email tomorrow that says, analyze this,
or if it says, what were you thinking?
it might say, drop everything, analyze this, and that's what I'm here for.
Anybody want to comment on any of these? Because I have another question. Yeah, Mina.
Just something to think about. We don't have the luxury of time because of disruptive technology. The technology is out there. It is getting cheaper where people can leave the grid. So grid defection is a real issue, real challenge out there. And so as we take time analyzing municipal or a cooperative, by the time we get to a decision, you may not have a real solid customer base, and you may be stuck with customers that may not be able to leave the grid. So you may have a real expensive system to operate. So I just want to toss that out as, think about this, because technology is moving so quickly, prices are dropping, it might be an expense out there that you didn't anticipate and you get stuck with, whether you're a municipal or a cooperative.